It often feels like the games industry is obsessed with playing it safe, churning out slightly improved versions of whatever came before it, with only a few game studios really daring to change the recipe or to venture off into the unknown. And when they do, it's not always good, but when it does work out, we often get something very special. And I think Supervive is that next special thing.
Overnight, I was 20, thought I had a good hold on life. Didn't know it at the time, I was not alright. I'm in over my head.
If you're not familiar with Supervive, it's essentially a top-down battle royale with hero characters. And if you think some of this looks familiar, that's because it does. Battlerite did exactly this back in 2018 with their battle royale spin-off title, Battlerite Royale. And side by side, they do look remarkably similar. But if we take a closer look under the hood, I think that Supervive has something that Battlerite just did not have, and that's staying power. Specifically, I think the moment-to-moment gameplay in Supervive is just better than Battlerite was, and I'll elaborate on that more in a second, but even when things were a bit stiff in the closed beta a few months ago, it was a solid start, and the progress the team has made between the closed beta and the Steam Next Fest demo is staggering. I work in AAA games, this kind of progress is really impressive. The second big thing is that the team at Supervive is actually stacked, and more on that in a bit as well. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, it's free to play, baby. So let's talk about Supervive. First things first, the game itself. You move with the keyboard and aim with the mouse, and it feels super good. Every character can glide and dash, sometimes 2 dashes, and weaving these things together can give you some absolutely insane movement that lets you either push enemy teams or run away real fast if you need to, but that does come with some risk. If you're hit whilst over one of the many gaps listed around the map, then you get spiked Smash Bros style, and you die instantly. Most of the characters in the game are ranged, so if you're fighting another team across a gap, then push at the wrong time, you can get dunked. And a lot of fights kind of boil down to harassing enemies across these gaps until you get an opportunity to go all in. Either a knock on an enemy or a cheeky grab, blitzcrank style from one of your teammates. You just want something that gives you the advantage in an all-out fight before you take that fight. And this feels more like Apex Legends than it has any right to do, and that's a really good thing because I play that game a lot and the fights in that game are really good. Of course, while all of this is going on, you could get attacked by another team, so whilst you're taking a long-range skirmish, you're also trying to pay attention to the map and other information that you have to try and work out whether you're at risk of being third-partied or not. But if you do mess up your push or get third-partied and die, it isn't necessarily the end of the game. Any surviving team members can revive the rest of their team by finding and standing on a respawn tower for just a few seconds. These are littered all around the map and blast out an alarm that can be heard and seen from very far away. So there's also a risk involved in doing this. And any nearby teams can respond to that noise, respond to those visual indicators, and come and pick up a free kill if you're not careful. There is risk to this. And I've mentioned risk a ton in this section already, and ultimately that's what this game is. It's a game that asks you to balance risk and reward on every decision that you make, and you have to make those decisions frequently. There is rarely a dull moment in Supervive. Even when you're in a quiet moment with no other teams around, you've still got things to consider, like the ring, how long it's going to take to come in, where you want to position, what objectives can you do on the way or within the ring or outside the ring, where other teams might be, what creeps you're able to farm, what you want to upgrade in terms of items, what you want to upgrade in terms of abilities. The list goes on. There's so much to consider that even when you're kind of just running from A to B with no other teams around, your brain is still thinking about all the different opportunities and trade-offs that you have available to you. And when you win, it feels so good because you've made all the right choices. And even if you make the wrong choices, and I think this is where Supervive really shines, if you make the wrong choices and you get into fights that perhaps aren't the best, they're still really fun because the individual combat and the ability to express your skill as an individual player is really high as well. And you can win fights by just being better. By landing your skill shots, by dodging enemy skill shots. You can just win by being better, even if you're in a bad spot. And if you do lose, it's okay. You can just re-queue and you're straight back into the action again. And even if you pick the same characters and land in the exact same spot every game, it's still going to be different because different teams are going to be around you in different places. The circle's going to move differently. There's going to be different objectives. Things are going to happen that require you to make different decisions based on what's happening in that one particular game. And this keeps the game fun for ages and ages and ages and ages and ages. Like, I've played that game for hours and it feels like I've been on it for 20 minutes. And that is such high praise for a video game. It's just always fun, and I always wanted to play more. But this is as good as any time to talk about the team behind the game. Supervive is made by Theorycraft Games, and Theorycraft Games was created by Joe Tung, Arib Pirani, Moby Frank, and Michael Evans in 2020. They all worked at Riot together on both League of Legends and Valorant as senior leaders in their respective areas. They also have other big studio names and games in their career history. These are 4 impressive dudes. They all know what they're doing, which is probably why they managed to get so much funding from investors, which today, according to Traxon, is at around $87.5 million, which is massive for indie studios like Theorycraft. And they used this money, presumably, to hire other big names like Jonathan Belize, Jessica Nam, Andrew Yip, Joshua Bryan Smith, Angela Del Priore, I'm sorry if I've ruined that, Dylan Jones, and a bunch more people as well. There's so much talent in this studio. It's not a scrappy startup by people straight out of college like most indie studios are. This is a group of world-class talent with a history of making successful games, taking a gamble on something new that they believe in. And this does not happen often, and we as gamers should pay attention to this. It's an event. Whether the game succeeds or not, there's something interesting going on here. But running a studio with this many talented people is not cheap. And when the game does release, it's going to have to pay back all those investors. The $88 million and interest is a lot of money, which brings me on to their monetization model. And if there is one part of Supervive that isn't really doing anything different, is the monetization model. It's everything you'd expect from a live service game in 2024. It has unlockable champions, it has skins, emotes, all that stuff. The good news is that it's taken, or seems to be taking, the League of Legends approach, which for all the flack it gets is actually quite a healthy monetization model that doesn't penalize you for not spending money, which is really important. I'm old enough to remember when every free-to-play game was pay to win, and it was actually League that transformed the free-to-play model into cosmetic-focused monetization, rather than what it used to be, which was paying for power. Every game was like that. It sucked. But thanks to League, other studios caught on that just selling cosmetics makes more money, and so that's now what they will do, and that's what this game is going to do too. If you look at the store, it's very clear that's what they're planning to do. Anyway, I just had some trees delivered.
It's trees, my dudes.
So I need to go and plant some trees in my garden. This entire video is just a ploy to get you to use my refer a friend link in the description so I can get a cool skin for my character. Please go and use that link. I want free skins. Also, this isn't planned. I wrote this script about a month ago, and they announced today that the open beta launches on the 20th of November, which will probably be like the day after I launch this video. So yeah, you don't have to wait. Just sign up, go play some Supervive. It's great fun. Give me a skin in the process. And thank you for watching as always. It's great. I'm a small channel, so when you guys watch this to the end, it really helps out. You can also watch another video if you really want to. It's totally up to you. You don't have to. It's your life. But if you did, I'd be very happy. Thanks for watching. I don't know why I'm whispering. Have a great day. Goodbye.